natva sarvadosha vivarjitam paripurnam guruncha gita samvakshyami deshatah Lakshmi Narayanam Natva Purna Bodha Gurunati Kurma Shri Krishna Gitaya Bhashya Dukta Sangraham Hari Om. So we are in the final chapter, and the final chapter begins with very interesting question from Arjuna, right? First time he is asking for tattva. No, tattva michhami veditum. This is the first time, and this is despite Krishna repeatedly, chapter after chapter, he's been stressing on the importance of know everything from the tattva, right? Tattva vittu mahabahu gunakarma vibhagayohu guna guneshu vattanta iti matvana sajjate. Like, naiva kinchit karomiti yukto manyeta tattva vittu. Every way he is just reminding that, understand these concepts, be it the sannyasa concept, be it the karma concept, be it the sankhya concept, be it the dhyana concept, be it the raja yoga concept, everything, uh, aham sarvasya prabhavo, matta sarvam pravartate. He's the Lord, right? Aham hi sarva yajnana, bhokta cha prabhureva cha. All of these concepts sound nice, but natumam abhijananti tatvena te chavanti. This is the concept that he's been repeatedly, driving. If you don't understand the tattva behind all that I have said, that I am the supreme, I mean, these are good to hear, but if you don't really get the tattva behind it, you will have a relegation very soon. You will be, dropping from the state of yoga siddhi. Tattvena na abhijananti to chavanti. Like, you will definitely fall behind. And now, finally, Arjuna asks this question, right? Sannyasasya mahabaho tattvamichhami veditum tyagasya cha hrishikesha. Pritak tattvam veditum ichhami. In an elaborated way, in a differentiated way, in a variegated way, I want to understand the tattva. That's the whole question, right, of this chapter. Now, at the forefront of it, it might look like he is just willing to seek the tattva behind the concept called tyaga and the concept called sannyasa. But when we delve into the concept called tyaga and the concept called sannyasa, we will perhaps realize that, at a brief level, Krishna does define what is sannyasa, what is tyaga. Karmanam kamyanam karmanam nyasam sannyasam iti kavayah viduhu. And sarva karma phala tyagam, tyagam iti prahuhu. Vishakshanaha tyagam iti prahuhu. So basically, giving up all the desirous activities, vested activities, all the actions that we do out of vested interest. Basically, do everything for the sake of Brahma. Brahmanyadhaya karmani sangam tyaktva karoti yaha. So that's sannyasa, right? Where we attach all our actions for the sake of Brahma and detach ourselves from all material hankering. And tyaga is basically karma phala tyaga, sarva karma phala tyaga, right? And then he goes on to explain, like, there are three types of tyaga, rajasika tyaga, sattvika tyaga, tamasika tyaga. And he also mentions there is no way, as long as we have the body, there is no way to give up actions. So there is no point of talking about giving up actions. You can only give up the fruits of the action, the entitlement over the fruits of the action. And then in that kind of a sthiti, whatever action you do, that, the actions are karya nityeva. Yashtavyameveti yajaha, yajante. Like, you do yajna for the sake of, that yajna has to be done. Datavyamiti danam diyate. You have to do dana for the sake of doing dana. Similarly, kartavyameveti, manaha, samadhaya, saha sattvikaha tyagaha, sangam tyaktva, phalam chaiva. That kind of a tyaga. Tyaga is basically detaching ourselves from all types of sangha, which includes karma. That's what it says. Sangam tyaktva, phalam chaiva. Give up all attachments. That includes the karma phala. That is the tyaga called the sattvika tyaga, right? The four types of tyaga, or the four types of sangha rahitatva that we keep hearing, right? Kartrutva sangha, hetutva sangha, karma phala apeksha sangha, and akarmani sangha. These are the four sangha, right? Here he drives that point once again. Sangam tyaktva phalam chaiva satyagah satvikah matah. Then he goes on to explain there is something called the Rajasika Tyaga of the karma, that you give up the action because you think it's too difficult for the body to endure, and you give up the action because you are completely bewildered whether good things happen, what is Shreyaskara for you. Moha arambhyate. That's moha tasya parityaga. That basically is the, so he nicely enumerates Krishna so far, but then he also explains the logic behind it. The tyaga, the sattvika tyaga that he keeps at a very high level, behind it in terms of two things, right? One, why do we need to give up the phalapeksha? Right? The tyaga, sarva karma phala tyaga, is extremely important, because when we attach ourselves to the fruits of the action, there is always a case of anishtam, ishtam, mishram. And these are the three types of, and that will pull us back into this never-ending conundrum between happiness and sorrow. Because when we attach ourselves too strong, anishtam, ishtam, mishram cha, trividham karmana phalam, like very simplistic. That will happen only if you do not give up the attachment to the fruits. Bhavati atyaginam, but not for the sannyasa. When you have given up things that you don't attach too strongly, no, you don't have too much of association with the karma phala. They have that anishta, ishta, mishra kind of a karma phala, which means you don't then go to that never-ending, that the two ends of the complete spectrum, the dukkha and the sukha, and that is what samsara is all about. And then he explains another logical thing, that there is no way anybody has any control over the end result. No, there are five things that will primarily come together. That Panchaitani Mahabaho, he says, Karanani Nibodha. When you understand the tattva, because the question is all about tattva, right? Tyagasya, Sanyasasya, Pritak Tattvam Veditam Ichchami. That's the question from Arjuna, right? So understand that for any action to completely manifest into a karma phala, there are five things that will come into influencing that action, right? In terms of materializing the fruits. One is the adhisthana, then is the karta, the nimitta karta. The ultimate karta is Bhagavan Vishnu, right? The nimitta karta, we all have that incidental role to play, right? Datta Swatantra. We have something called Datta Swatantra. We have very limited kind of a Swatantra, wherein we can bring in our Ichha Shakti, we can show our intent as to what we want to do. We can put in our Prayatna Shakti. Yes, I will put my effort to accomplish, what is needed. I will have my jnana and the sankalpa, but beyond that, my role is only nimitta, right? My swatantra is only datta swatantra. I don't have complete. So that kind of a karta, and the place of action, the various karana, prutak vidham karanam, like the different procedures in which and vividhasa prutak chesa, and various actions that happen. And then fifth one is the daiva, the luck, the adrishta, whatever we see. So there are five things that will come together to make sure that anything that you want to do gets gets materialized into the desirable outcome, right? You don't have any control over it. Even if you think that you have the best of the place to perform the activity, like people say, I for my sadhana I will go to Himalayas and get inside a cave and then meditate. You might choose the best of the places to do the action. You might be the best of the person. You might be the best of the karta, and you would have got the best of the instruments to do that also. Karanam, Antakaranam, no Karanam. No, and you might also have the best of the procedures. You might have learned these sadhana techniques from the best of the gurus. But the fifth one, Daiva Atra Panchamam Cha Eva. This is the Daiva. Without the Daiva Anugraha, there is nothing possible. That's the Adrishta. Some people call it as Adrishta, that is unseen, but something is playing a role. Some people call it as Daiva. Because when you accept something as a positive entity, then we can do something about it. And our forefathers have given us the hint, right? When you go through the various Abhimani Devatas, Devan Bhavayata Anena Yajnena. That's the message that comes in Bhagavad-Gita also, one of the earliest messages coming in Bhagavad-Gita, in the Karma Yoga. In this Yajna, in this Jivana called Yajna, this entire life is a Yajna. Yajno vai Vishnu, right? Yajnena yajnamayajanta devaha tani dharmani pramamyatum tena naham no tena naham mahimana satanti yatra purve sadhya santi devaha. When we hear some of these stutis, suktas, we get to hear the larger concept of, yajna brut, yajna krut, yajna bhut, yajna sadhana, yajna krut, yajna bhukyam. When we hear all these nice things, this entire life is a yajna, where, brahmarpanam, brahmahavihi, brahmagno, brahmanahutam, brahmaiva tena gantavyam, brahma karma samadhina. When we understand that larger yajna kind of a concept, we have to worship the various Abhimani Devatas. Devan Bhavayatanena. And then Krishna also mentions, you do that because Kamshantaha Karmanam Siddhi. There is no life where we don't expect Karma Siddhi. The Karma Siddhi may not be very selfish in nature. The Karma Siddhi can also be expected, anticipated for the sake of the Loka Sangraha, right? For the sake of the larger society, we might be needing the range in the society. And for that also we need to worship, we need to do yajana in the name of some of the devas, right? So Krishna has been very strongly advocating that, devan bhavayata anena yajnena, right? So some people might want to call it as deva, which is what Krishna is advocating. Some people might just say, oh, there is nothing called deva. This is all superstition. This is all luck. This is all random happenstance, right? Some people might just want to, relegate these things to the adrishta. Adrishta is typically luck, not drishta. We don't know what it is, but I am hesitating to call it something, right? But I think logically, when we call it something, that is where we can do something rather than knowing it as unknown, right? When it is unknown, we can't do anything about it. There is no further prayatna that is ever possible. At least when we accept it as a known entity, by the observed trend of the past, of what all our ancestors have done, we might be able to do something. Make sure that that unknown entity works in our favor as much as possible, even if it is for the sake of the larger good of the society, right? So, five things that Krishna outlined in this shloka number 14, and that is where we stop. Right? Today we are moving on to the next shloka. Shraddhaji has pinned the link under the room title. Just click on this link, you will directly come to the 15th shloka. And this is a beautiful website where, the creators of this website, under the aegis, under the leadership of Dr. Sampadananda, they have, given a nice mix. There is shloka. The shloka is given in Devanagari and in the English script, transliterated into English script. We can read that. There is also a section called the Padacheda, because normally the shlokas will have the words, attached in such a way that, the sandhis are formed. So the breakdown of sandhis are also provided. And just above the Padacheda, there is a section called Anvaya, where the shlokas normally do not sound in a way it is spoken. Like, for example, when we speak in any of the Bharatiya Bhasha or even in Sanskrit, when the language is spoken, there is a certain position for the subject, the predicate, and the action, and things like that, right? But in a shloka, they can be mixed up, and with the guarantee that, because of the way the Sanskrit language is structured, with the help of things like vibhaktis and things like that, it doesn't really make a difference whether the subject comes first, the object comes first, or the action comes first. घर को जाता है राम, राम घर को जाता है, घर को राम जाता है. Like, in any of the Bharatiya Bhasha, you mix up the position of the subject object, but nonetheless, the Rasaswada is much better when we put that into a proper sentence format. So for that purpose, we also have the Anvaya. So the section called Anvaya gives us the prose order. The same shloka is given in the prose order. So today we will click on shloka number 50. Just click on the link. And this is just a study room, right? I mean, we all can study together. So, Parihipam, shloka number 15 reads like this. Shariravaং manobhiryat karma prarabhate naraha nyayam va viparitam va panchayate tasya hetavaha. Shariravaং manobhiryat karma prarabhate naraha nyayam va viparitam va panchayate tasya hetavaha. When you look at the Padacheda, Sharira, Vak, Manobhihi, Yat Karma Prarabhate Naraha, Nyayam Va, Viparitam Va, Pancha Ete Tasya Hetavaha. So we can notice some of the sandhis, right? Like Pancha Ete becomes Pancha Ete, similar to Eka, Eka becomes, Ekaika. It's called the Vriddhi Sandhi. No, vak manaha becomes vang manaha, anunasika. So some of these sandhis are there. We can notice them, right? But nonetheless, this is how the breakdown of the words stand. And when we put that into a proper unjumbled way in a prose order, we get the Anvaya. Naraha Shariravac Manobhihi Nyayam va Viparitam va Yat Karma Prarabhate Tasya Ete Panchahetavaha. Right? Naraha Shariravac Manobhihi Nyayam va Viparitam va Yat Karma Prarabhate Tasya Ete Panchahetavaha. Naraha, the human, the man, right? Sharira Vak Manobhihi, by the Sharira, Vak, or the Manas, right? By the body, by the tongue, the speech, or the Manas, mind. Nyayam va Viparitam va, whether it is Nyaya, by the law, by the rightful conduct, or the Viparita conduct. Viparita is the Tadviruddha. The Viparita conduct, or the wrongdoing, whether done rightly or wrong, through the body, mind, or the speech, whatever. Yes, yes, kinchit, karma prarabhate, work that he begins or work that he accomplishes, undertakes. Tasya ete panchahetavaha. These five are the causes, right? These five, hetu. Hetavaha is the bahuvachana of the hetu, right? So these are the five causes. What are the five? Adhisthana, karta, karana, vividhaha pratakchestaha, and daiva. Without these five coming together, whether it is Sharirika karma, whether it's Vak karma, which is the speech, or the Manasika karma, our good thoughts also, right? None of them are possible, whether it's Nyaya karma or the Viparita karma. These are the five things that come into play, right? Let's quickly see what Aurobindo interpretation says. These five elements, again the same thing, right? Whatever is mentioned in Shloka 14. These five elements make up among them all the efficient causes that determine the shaping and the outcome of whatever work a man undertakes with either his mind or speech or body. It's very, very simplistic. We go to the next shloka, shloka number 16. तत्रैवं सति कर्तारम् आत्मानं केवलं तु यः पश्यत्य कृतबुद्धित्वां न स पश्यति दुर्मतिः. तत्रैवं सति कर्तारम् आत्मानं केवलं तु यः पश्यत्य कृतबुद्धित्वां न स पश्यति दुर्मतिः. Right? When we see the padacheda, tatra evam sati kartaram atmanam kevalam tu ya pashyati akrita buddhitvat na sah pashyati durmatihi. Some sandhi, right? Pashyati akrita pashyatyakrita. Akrita buddhitvat na buddhitvam na. Sah pashyati becomes sa pashyati, right? Tatra evam tatra evam. There are some sandhis, right? But when we put these words into a proper sentence, तत्र एवं सति यः तु अकृतबुद्धित्वात् केवलम् आत्मानं कर्तारम् इति पश्यति सः दुर्मतिः न पश्यति. Right? तत्र एवं सतिः. Right? What does that mean? Tatra ev. There, being so is while performing the sharirika karya, karma, or vak karma or na karma. Tatra evam sati. Now there, again, whenever we see the plurals like, pronouns like there, it, and things like that, it's quite natural for us to immediately refer to the previous shloka or the previous context to refer to what is the subject in hand. Right? Tatra evam sati. There being so, where in action, right? In action, the one who, yahatu, one who verily, akrita buddhitva, by akrita, asamskrita buddhi, like, ill-developed buddhi, right? Without any proper discerning ability, owing to, ignorant understanding. Kevalam atmanam kartaram iti pashyati. Thinks or looks at only himself to be the doer, the absolute doer. Kevalam, only atmanam kartaram. Atma, his own self, is the kartara. Iti pashyati, and looks like that. Look at on. Saha durmati, he is the durmati. Durmati is basically bad mati. Mati is the intelligence. He is a perverted intelligence or unintelligent person. Na pashyati. He understands. He doesn't see what? The tattva. Because at the end of the day, all of this is tattva, right? The question from Arjuna is tattva. He doesn't understand the tattva. Tattva vittu mahabaho, gunakarma vibhagayu, naiva kinchit karomiti, yukto manyeta, tattva vit. When you launch yourself through the proper tattva, pashyan, shrunvan, tushan, grithnan, whatever you do, pashyan, shrunvan, tushan, grithnan, no, what's that shloka? I keep forgetting. Pashyan Shunvan Prashan Jigran Ashnan Gachan Swapan Swasham Swasham Pralapan Visvijan Grithnan Unmishan Nimishan Napi. All of these various activities from our various avayavas and the indriyas, whatever actions we perform, when we understand the tattva, we don't. And now in this chapter, he is splitting the tattva, like layer by layer, leaf by leaf. He is petal by petal. He is presenting in front of Arjuna. Right? Let's see what Aurobindo translation says. That being so, or there being so, right? He verily who, owing to the ignorant understanding, looks on the pure self as the doer, looks at his own self as the absolute doer. He of that perverted intelligence sees not the proper tattva. Right? Let's look at the next shloka, shloka 17. यस्य नाहङ्कृतो भावो बुद्धिर्यस्य न लिप्यते हत्वापि स इमान् लोकान् न हन्ति न निबध्यते यस्य नाहङ्कृतो भावो बुद्धिर्यस्य न लिप्यते हत्वापि स इमान् लोकान् न हन्ति न निबध्यते स पदच्छेद यस्य न अहङ्कृतः भावः बुद्धिः यस्य न लिप्यते हत्वा अपि सः इमान् लोकान् na hanti na nibadhyati. Right? When we put this into a proper sentence, yasya ahankritah bhavah na, yasya buddhihi na lipyate, saha iman lokan hatva api na hanti na nibadhyate. Very beautiful. Again, more benefits of the tyaga, right? Yasya ahankritah bhavah na. For who there is no ahankara bhava. Aham karta iti. No, that kind of a feeling is ahankrita bhava, right? One who doesn't have that ahankara bhava, that I am the doer, this is all mine, this is all for my enjoyment. This is what our current society pushes us to, right? Zindagi na milegi dobara. So maximum enjoy. Everything is for our enjoyment. But but the one who doesn't have that ahankara bhava, right? No sense of inflated ego. Yasya buddhi na lipyate. The one whose buddhi doesn't get tainted or affected or get attached, like with various causal associations, various fruitful associations, all of this. Yasya na ahantata bhavah, yasya na buddhi lipyate. Saha iman lokan hatva api. That guy, even after destroying this whole world, because there is no self, right? The I has been dropped. I am neither the doer nor the enjoyer of this, action, enjoyer of the results of the action. Nothing is mine. Saha iman lokan hatva api. That guy, even after killing this entire planet, okay, destroying this entire planet, now hanti, he hasn't really tattvataha, he hasn't really destroyed anything. Na nibadhyate, nor can he be bound by any karma bandhana, nor can he be tainted, attracted, captivated by that karmic reactions we call karma bandhana. Na nibadhyate, right? Now this is very beautiful, right? This is the last thing that we hear before Arjuna was declared Vishadi, right? He was completely down in the second chapter. The last thing that Arjuna says is Nayosye, right? He's telling Krishna, Nayosye iti Govindam uktva tushni bhavuvaha. He just sat quietly. Nayosye iti Govindam uktva tushni bhavuvaha. I will not fight. No, who are you to fight? No, what's that? Nenam what's that? Ya enam veti hantaram yastenam manyate hatam ubhav tauna vijanitaha. He has told that long ago in the second chapter. One who thinks that I am the Hanta and I am the no, I'm the Hanta and I'm the and the Hata. You are neither Hata nor the Hanta. Neither are you the killer nor would you be the killed. Right? Guna Guneshu Vartante. And this is what he is explaining very thoroughly. Right? With this five things that contribute to any action, right? You and then give up that I, that association of any kind of a sangha, that kartrutva sangha, hetutva sangha, akarma sangha. Just because I don't have the kartrutva, just because I don't have the hetutva, I can't keep quiet because there is no way you can keep quiet. We have to do our swadharma in a nishkama way. Right? That's the whole point. And all of that has been elaborated very nicely. So, when you have that asanga shastra and dridatva about only doing the thing because it has to be done, karya nityeva yat karma, then you are neither the na hanti na nibadhyate. You are neither the killer or nor are you the destroyer, nor would you be bound by any of these karmic reactions because you didn't do anything for your own sake. There is no selfish attachment. In fact, when we see some of the messages from some of the great Jagat Gurus, right? Na ham karta, Hari karta. I am not the doer. Hari is the doer. But that doesn't mean to say that I don't have any role to play. We spoke about this earlier, right? We have to bring our ichha, we have to bring our prayatna. We need to acknowledge the datta swatantra inside all of us, and there is something called the jnana. Right? In some days, when it comes to the Navaratri is all about celebrating this Prakriti, right? Devi, the Bhula Prakriti, that Mahalakshmi who has this multiple different forms. And when we look at these nine different forms, they will predominantly fall into the three gunas, the three buckets of the three gunas, sattva, rajas, and tamas, right? And when we look further deep, in the, like for example, Shri Bhu Durga, we call her, right? When we look at the Shri Tattva, that is where the Icha comes into play. When it comes to Durga, that's where the Kriya Shakti, the Icha Shakti, Kriya Shakti, and then we look at the Saraswati also, right? Neela Saraswati. And when you look at her also, it's all about jnana. And jnana is a constantly evolving one. So we have that limited role play, but when we don't do anything for our own personal sake, we can neither be bound by these karma reactions, the karmic reactions, nor are we the absolute doer. Nothing of the sort will happen. And so beautifully in the last three, four slokas when we see, both at the current level, at the material plane, and also at the higher level. We can call it the astral plane or the supra plane, whatever, the higher plane also. There are benefits that are being presented by Krishna, tattvataha, broken down, leaf by leaf, layer by layer, petal by petal, concept by concept, word by word. He's just breaking it down and presenting them to Arjuna. Let's look at what Aurobindo says. He who is free from his ego sense, aham karta, na aham karta, like that's the whole concept, na aham karta. One who is free from that aham karta concept, where he comes to feel that no, he is not the karta, whose intelligence is not affected, one leads to the other. And also, you can get your intelligence affected when you have the buddhi given to the material attachments, right? Take them away. So buddhi has to be attached, lodged to, you know, uh, that mano buddhi completely given to the Bhagavan, one whose intelligence is not affected, though he slay these people and the world. Lokan, right? Lokan is also people. Lokan is fundamentally the whole world. Hatvat is the iman Lokan. He slays not, nor is bound into the karmic reaction. Let's look at sloka number 18. ज्ञानं ज्ञेयं परिज्ञाता त्रिविधा कर्म चोदना karanam karma karteti trividha karma sangraha. Now, this is more tattva, right? This chapter is all tattva, tattva, tattva. Because first time, I mean, despite Krishna mentioning, he spoke about this right earlier. Everything sankhya, na sato vidyate bhavo, na bhavo vidyate sataha, upayorapi dushtontaha, to anayoho tattva darshibihi. The jnana yoga is also about tattva. Right? Tadvidhi pranipatena, pariprashnena sevaya, upadekshyanti te jnanam jnanina, tattvadarshina. It's all tattva. All Bhagavad-Gita, chapter after chapter, Krishna has kept the importance of tattva. Now, Arjuna is asking, Michhami Veditum, right? That's the first question. That's the first sloka of this chapter. So now more of tattva. Jnanam, jneyam, parijnata, trivi, karanam, karma, karteti, trividah, karma sangraha. The padacheta, jnanam, jneyam, parijnata, trividha, karma chodana, karanam, karma, karta iti, trividah, karma sangraha. More concepts coming our way. What are they? Let's look at the Anvaya. Two sentences, right? Jnanam jneyam parijnata iti trividha karma chodana. Some, we can add something like that, right? Jnanam jneyam parijnata iti trividha karma chodana. Karta karanam karma iti trividha karma sangraha. That iti can be added to both sentences, right? Jnanam jneyam parijnata iti trividha karma chodana. Karta karanam karma iti trividha karma sangraha. What does that mean? So when you look at the meaning, right, on this website, just go a little on the top. So you will get something called the dictionary, right? Dictionary is where we will be able to see the word by word meaning in this website, beautiful website. Right? So shloka number 17. So jnanam is knowledge, right? Knowledge is also whatever has been given in the scripture, because the jnana currently that is pertinent in this point of the conversation is the scriptural knowledge, because that's where the 17th chapter ended, right? Tasma shastram te, yaha shastra vidhimutrujya, all of that. It's all ashraddhaya hutam dattam. The whole concept at the end of the 6th chapter to the entirety of 17th chapter, it's all about how to take up the shastra, completely holistically, and also how to do the anusandhana while taking up the shastra. Right? It's all about shastra. And shastra jnana are basically the Vedic injunction, right? Jnanam, so these are the Vedic. We can safely say these are Vedic injunctions. It may not be prakritika jnana also, right? But nonetheless, jnanam, jneyam. Jneyam is the one to be known, the object of knowledge. No, no, Vedesha sarvai rahameva vedyah, he says. And jneyam yattat pravakshyami yajnatva mritamashnute anadimat param brahma nasattanna saduchyate. So the concept of jneya has been elaborated in the 13th chapter and in quite a few other chapters, but essentially that jneya is the parabrahma tattva. Jneya is this Sri Krishna himself, right? But nonetheless, he says jnana, the knowledge, which is safely we can say scriptural knowledge or the injunction. Jneyam, which is the object of knowledge, which is safely to be understood to be Parabrahma, and Parijnata, the one who knows all of these things. No, Kshetrajnam Chati Ma Vidhi Sarva Kshetreshu Bharata. He is the one who knows. Essentially, he is the only one who knows everything. All of us are either deluded or looking at an illusion or part knower. Even at the highest level of our self-realization, perhaps we will only know one fraction of what is to be known. Right? We will not be able to know everything. That's how vast, Tapumi Vishwato Vrutva Atyatishtabda Shangulam, Padosya Vishwa Bhutani, Tripadasya Amritam Divi. The bigger part of this Parabrahma Tattva is inexpressible. Amrita Devi, it's all magical realm, right? So there is no way to know, right? So the Parijnata, again, the one who knows is only Bhagavan. Again, right? Jnaya is Bhagavan. Parijnata is also truly speaking the Bhagavan. And Veda, Jnana, injunction are also predominantly the Bhagavan, because Bhagavan and the Vedas are Abheda. They are one, Paraspara. And that's why in Bhagavad-Gita we keep seeing, right? We see the example where Bhagavan has kept the Vedas at the top. And we also see that, Vedas are keeping Bhagavan at the center of everything. So that Anyonya, that's the Aveda kind of a feeling. We get to see that. Especially when we come to the 15th chapter, right? It begins with Urdhva Moola Madaha Shakam. So by bringing the lines from the Vedas, these are the lines of Kataka Upanishad, right? So by bringing the lines of Vedas, he has kept the Vedas at the high level, high pedestal. But later, he will only clarify that, the central theme of all the Vedic lines is himself, right? So the Vedas and the Bhagavan are Abheda, but nonetheless, the Jnana, the Vedic injunction, Jnaya, the object of the knowledge, and Parijnata, the one who truly knows everything. These are the three karma chodana. No, ete trividha Karma chodana. Karma chodanas are the impulsions to work. Something that will propel us to do something. So whatever we have to do, any action that we take, right? It is primarily driven through jnana and the desire to jnaya and parijnata. Right? We think that we are the knowers, but there is a dva suparno sadusho sakayau. But when we understand that concept of the two suparna, right, it's basically Paramatma. That the ultimate parijnata is him sitting beside us in this own body, right? But we tend to confuse that. We tend to ignore that presence, that Paramatma presence, and we think we are the jnata. So in that aham bhava also we might be propelled, and in the Bhagavad Adhina Bhava, also some people get propelled to do action. But nonetheless, these are the three things that will propel us to take up any action. These are the three impulsions to the work. And similarly, Karanam Karma Karta iti Trividaha Karma Sangraha. Right? The Karana, various Antakarana, right? Antakaranas are basically the like Indriyas are Antakarana, all the different Jnanendriyas and the Karmendriyas. The Manas is an Antakarana, the Buddhi is an Antakarana, or any instrument, whatever is the Karana Subhava, whatever is the whatever has an ability to provide, the Karana, the reasoning for something to get done. That becomes a Karana, right? Instrument and karma, the work being done. These are the three. Iti trividaha karma sangraha. The things that hold karma sangraha. When we talk about the karma is propelled by something. Karma gets executed by something else. Whatever the five things he spoke of, adhisthana, karana, karta, prutak cheshta, and daiva. Now he's breaking them down into two different big large categories. There are one set of karma chodana, which are the impulsions to execute the work, and there are three karma sangraha, the things that will contribute to the materialization. Right? Now there is a reason why he is doing this breakup. Right? After giving the five-fold breakup and now the six-fold breakup, I think there is a reason why he is doing this, because the question from Arjuna is tattva, but we'll come to that a little later. Right? Karma sangraha is basically karma karana that includes the nimitta karya karta. Karma karana karta. Right? Let's quickly see what Aurobindo says for this. Knowledge, the object of the knowledge, and the knower. Jnanam, jnayam, parijnata. These three things constitute the mental impulsions to work. Right? There are again three things: the doer, the instruments, and the work done, that hold action together and make it possible. Right? Three things to propel us to take up something, three things that will influence the outcome, right? The materialization, the coming together of the action, right? And whenever action is completed, there are results. Whether we want it or not, there will be results, right? So let's quickly go to the next shloka. Jnanam karma cha karta cha tridhaiva gunabhedatah प्रोच्यते गुणसंख्याने यथावत् शृणुतान्यपि ज्ञानं कर्म च कर्ता च त्रिधैव गुणभेदतः प्रोच्यते गुणसंख्याने यथावत् शृणुतान्यपि. The sandhis, the padacheda, jnanam, karma, karta च त्रिधा एव गुणभेदतः प्रोच्यते गुणसंख्याने यथावत् शृणुतान्यपि तानि अपि. When we put it into a proper anvaya, guna sankhyaane jnanam karma cha karta cha guna bhedatah tridha eva prochyate tani api yathavat shruno. Because it's tattva, right? The question from Arjuna is tattva, and one of the best works on tattva, understanding tattva, is the Sankhya Shastra, right? Kapila Mahamuni, Sankhya Shastra is all about tattva, right? Today, whether we take up the Shaiva school of thought or Shaktiya school of thought or the Vaishnava school of thought or any school of thought, when we break down the tattva level, they might talk about Swatantra, Aswatantra, Paratantra, Swatantra, Parashiva, some other Shiva. They might speak in different contexts. But the 24 core things that lie as the foundation knowledge of all of this, right? That doesn't go differently. That's where we are all connected together in the Sanatana society, right? that Pancha Jnanendriya, Pancha Karmendriya, Pancha Tanmatra, Pancha Mahabhuta, the four large antakaranas, Mano, Buddhi, Ahankara, Chitta. Right? These things do not change. These 24 are the common denominator. On top of that, people might want to bring in few other things that are derived concepts according to some schools of thought, maybe not so derived in some other schools of thought. Right? The elaboration might go slightly differently. But whenever we think of Tattva in the Sanatana society, the Sankhya Shastra, whatever Kapila Mahamuni, that's why when we offer Naivedya, Kapilat Matadivjena Chakshusha Samvilokaya, that Avalokana is the best way of looking at things, observing things, has been granted by Kapila Mahamuni, right? Kam Pibati Leelati, Siddhoham Kapilo Munina. He is the among the Siddhi, wherever somebody has to achieve success, right? We need to have a discerning ability. That discerning ability was first granted to us, the Chakshu was granted to us by Kapila Mahamuni. That conversation between himself and his mother, Devahuti, that's where it all started, right? So Sankhya Shastra has to be upheld very highly. Whenever something of Tattva need to be spoken of, we have to uphold the Sankhya Shastra, one of the earliest Sankhya Shastra. And it's all interlinked. Whatever, I mean, whether it's the Purva Mimamsa or the Uttara Mimamsa or multiple different schools under the Uttara Mimamsa, the core 24 do not go away, right? So 24 might become 25 according to some schools of thought, might become 26 according to some schools of thought. There are some 33 tattvas according to Shaiva. There are some 36 tattvas according to the Shaktiya school of thought. 26 under the Vaishnava. Different enumeration, different level of detailing. But the core 24 are a common denominator in all of these schools of thought, right? So Sankhya is important when the subject of Tattva comes into play. If somebody is a Jijnasa, keen to learn about Tattva, Sankhya has to be brought about. And that's where Krishna says, Guna Sankhyane Jnanam Karma Karta Cha Guna Bhedatah Tridha Eva Prochate. Tani Api Yathavat Shruno. Very simplistic. What does that mean? We click on dictionary, right? This is shloka number 19. Let me quickly change. For those of you who are coming a little late, this is shloka number 19. Just click on the link. I just updated the link. Right? Guna Sankhyane. In the Sankhya system of dealing with the gunas, basically the ancient Sankhya system, right? The ancient Sankhya system that was perhaps given to us by Kapila Mahamuni, right? Seshwara Guna, Sankhya system, along with the Ishvara, the first thing that came out. Guna Sankhyane, in the Sankhya of Gunas, right? Sankhya is Samyak Akhya, proper understanding, right? Samyak Akhya is Sankhya. Right? So, and then Sankhya is numeral, right? Enumeration is Sankhya. The one that comes from Sankhya is Sankhya. Sankhyasya apatyam puman. Sankhya, Sankhya. When we look at that, Sankhya then becomes the analytical knowledge. There are different ways of knowing. But Sankhya, Sankhya is where you break down the anything given into its elemental truth and go to the root of it. Right? That's basically analysis. And that's where we come, like when we come to chemistry. Everything can be described as some combination of those finite elements, right? There are finite elements. We call it the periodic table. In the periodic table, we see those finite elements. Everything. If it's water, H2O. If it's some kind of a methane, some kind of a petrol, the human body. Everything can be described as part of some chemical elements brought in some concept. Right? That's the elemental truth. The periodic table, the elements are the elemental truth. Similarly, in our Sanatana system, if there is a question called what is life, universe, and everything, all of these things can be explained through tattva, right? These 24 elements according to some schools of thought. In fact, Charvakas also believe in tattva, right? But they only believe in 4 tattva, right? What we see as the cross, the indication of the cross, what the Christian beliefs use, the earth, the fire, the water, and the air. These are the 4 tattvas for the Charvakas, right? But nonetheless, Guna Sankhyane, in the Sankhya Shastra dealing with Guna, Jnanam, Karma, Cha Karta Cha. The Jnana, the knowledge, which is the injunctional knowledge, Karma, which is the action, and Karta, the doer, Cha Guna Bhedataha. Tridha. They are threefold in their guna bhedana, in their differentiation by guna, which this is a very clear indication, right? No jnana can be, all of us can be reading the Veda, but the way I read the Veda, the way I understand the Veda is depending on my guna karma the guna composition. The way Sudhaji might be reading the same Veda could be her guna composition. I mean, we know this example, right? We are all looking at Bhagavad-Gita. There are more than 5,000 standard commentaries on the Bhagavad-Gita. Standard commentaries. Some of us may be writing our own, juvenile attempts at commenting on the Gita. That's another thing. I'm not even counting them. The standard, I mean, the Advaitis will see only Advaita in Gita. The Dvaitis will see only Dvaita in Gita. The Vishishta Advaitis. So whenever somebody processes any knowledge, the Vedas can be telling something. But the way somebody will process the same Veda, there is Guna Bhedana. There is Guna Bhedata. Jnana is Guna Bhedata. What is contained in the Vedas is one. The way it is all understood by different people is another. So Guna Bhedata Jnanam. Guna Bhedata Karma. Right? Even karma is threefold. Tridha Bhavati. And Kartacha, even the doer. We all have team work, right? We all have involved ourselves in one or the other teamwork. In the teamwork, there are instances where 10 people are given the same task and 10 people will do it differently, right? They might be given the same instruction. Their processing of that instruction is different. And the way they are asked to do something, people have been shown how to do it, but still people do it in their own way, right? When you go to the dance class, they say, you have to do this, you have to do that, this step first, this step later. Okay, so karta tridha guna bhedatah, karma tridha guna bhedatah, jnanam ati tridha guna bhedatah. Jnana, karma, karta cha tridha guna bhedatah eva only prochate is declared according to the Sankhya Shastra. Right? Tani api yathavat shrunu. Please listen to that also from me. Yatha prakara, yathavat, duly. Please duly understand them also from me. Listen to them from me. Right? Let's see what Aurobindo says. Knowledge, the work, and the doer are of three kinds, says the Sankhya. And when we say three kinds in the guna composition, we can safely say it's obviously talking about sattva, rajas, and tamas. Right? So according to the differences in the guna qualities, hear thou duly these also. Hear you. Please hear them. Yathavat duly about them also. Tani api. Right? This is very beautiful. Now he has eliminated Jnaya because that is Bhagavad Tattva. Right? Jnaya, Parijnata, that's also Bhagavad Tattva. The absolute awareness is only one. None of us can be awareness. Like as long as we have the body, we cannot be awareness. What happens after we give up the body? We only know after we give up the body. But so long as we have the body, we can never be that one single universal awareness, right? The Parijnata, that Sarva Kshetreshu Kshetrajna, whatever. We hear that, right? In the 13th chapter, Krishna elaborates a little about that Parijnata, which is the Sarva Kshetra Kshetrajna, and then Jnaya, that Anadimatparam Brahma. That kind of a, and then he also eliminated Karanam. Antakaranas are primarily the seed of different Abhimani Devatas. Mano Niyamaka Rudra Deva, Chakshu Niyamaka Surya Deva, Chandra Deva, or there are different, Vak Niyamaka, Bharati Devi, we get different Abhimani Devatas. So he has nicely eliminated, according to Sankhya Shastra, Karana, Jnaya, Parijnata. But come to the other three, the Jnana, Karma, Karta, there are threefold divisions in them based on the guna, the Sattva guna, Rajas guna, and the Tamo guna. That's basically what this sloka number 19 says. Again, this is all to do with Tattva. If we can bear some moment and then apply these thoughts, we will know whatever little he has been speaking, right? The Tattva. Chapter after chapter he's been, Tattva vittu mahabahu gunakarma vibhagayohu guna guneshu vartante iti matvana sajjati. When you understand the Tattva, your karma is not what you are doing. It's the guna acting upon the guna. If you think you are eating sweets, it's basically your tongue has a guna, swabhavika guna. It could be the vasana, pravritti, whatever, but there are gunas. And the sweet has a certain composition. Like there are some people, when they drink coffee, for some people, coffee is totally aversive, repulsive. They just hate coffee. For some people, they can't have a nice coffee because there is certain guna in the coffee that won't change. The coffee is the same, but the guna in me can make me repulsive to the coffee, or it can make me attractive to the coffee. So this attraction and repulsion is not mine. It's the guna within my taste buds which is basically getting attractive. So once we understand that properly, nothing is what we are doing, right? And doing nothing also doesn't mean that no, we don't do anything. We do without any personal attachment. So, and for this, the tattva now that is going to come out, I think it will be brilliant, right? This is why it saved the best for the last. This chapter is the lengthiest chapter in the entire Gita. The last chapter is the longest, right? We go to the next shloka, shloka number 20. Harihi Om. सर्वभूतेषु येनैकं भावमव्ययमीक्षते अविभक्तं विभक्तेषु तज्ज्ञानं विद्धि सात्विकम्. So he spoke, right? Jnana, karma, karta are threefold. There is a sattvika jnana, sattvika karma, sattvika karta. Rajasika jnana, rajasika karma, karma, rajasika karta. Similarly, tamasika jnana, tamasika karma, tamasika karta. So now he is coming to sattvika jnana, looks like. Sarva bhuteshu yenaikam bhavam avyayamikshate avibhaktam vivakteshu tajnanam viddhi satvikam. Right? When we see the padacheda, sarva bhuteshu yena ekam bhavam avyayam ikshate avibhaktam vivakteshu tajnanam viddhi satvikam. Right? When we put that into a proper prose order, yena vibhakteshu sarva bhuteshu ekam avyayam avibhaktam bhavam ikshate tajnanam satvikam iti viddhi. Right? What does that mean? Yena, by which vibhakteshu sarva bhuteshu, in all the divided jiva rashis, sarva bhuteshu, all the bhuta ganas, which are seemingly divided. They are all appearing divided. No, in the one by which in all the divided bhuta ganas, ekam avyayam avibhaktam bhavam pashyati. No, pashyati is see. In all these divided jiva rashi, the one who can see ikshate, one can see ekam avyayam avibhaktam bhavam. He can see that one undivided, unchangeable bhava, right? That bhava can be the expression, the manifestation, right? And avyaya can be unchangeable, imperishable, or dosha rahita, right? Dosha rahita. Tat jnanam satvikam iti viddhi. Know that knowledge, know that jnana to be satvika. Very simple, right? We heard a similar thing. No, avibhaktam vibhakteshu. No, avibhaktam vibhak avibhaktam cha bhuteshu vibhaktam iva cha sthitam. No, jnanam jneyam parijnanam. Jnanam jneyam jnanagamyam hridhi sarvasya vishtitam. So when we spoke about the 13th chapter, while describing the Paramatma Tattva in the name of Jneya, avibhaktam cha bhuteshu, he is the one who is the nirdosham samam brahma. And in the vibhakta kind of, he is actually undivided in all of us, but he appears as though he is divided. Because all the jivatmas are in individual bodies, right? I mean, I am one jivatma, Sudhaji is one jivatma, Shraddhaji is one jivatma, Vishwanathji is one jivatma, Sumitraji is one jivatma, Vijayji, Crazyji, Kiranji. All of us are bespoke jivatmas. And alongside with each of the jivatmas, there is this Paramatma Tattva giving the back. Upadrashta, Hanumantacha, Bharta, Bhokta, one who is giving the back constantly to all of us and staying inside the body. Which means it appears as though there is one Paramatma inside my body, there is one Paramatma inside Shraddha's body, there is one Paramatma inside Sudhaji's body. Right? It might appear as though it's all divided. vibhaktamiva chastitam. He resides as though he is divided, but he is not, right? But the jnana, the true sattvika jnana, is what sees that reality that Krishna had explained in the 13th chapter. No, yena jnanena, no, in through which jnana, vibhakteshu sarvabhuteshu, in this divided life forms, ekam avyayam avibhaktam bhavam pashyati. One who can see this one indestructible, faultless, one aikya bhava, right? Ikshati, one who can see tat jnanam satvikam iti vidhi. Know that knowledge to be sattvika in nature, right? At the end of the day, this is something that samya bhava is basically, I don't attach anything to the personal grief, right? I mean, we often hear in English, respond to the message, not to the messenger, right? Because the messenger is just doing a nimitta job, right? Many a times when we look at as a king, in our Sanatana Dharma, we never used to shoot the messenger, right? Today it's different. The spies are treated differently, and the spies and the messengers are entrusted with different roles as well. But the Sanatana Dharma clearly knew this very well. The message is different to the messenger. Let's take the message. The message is the same, whether it comes from this guy or another guy. Some people might have an aversion to listen to Gita from some other school acharya, some other sampradayika acharya. Like we do have that aversion. Some people might have aversion not only listening to the meaning of Gita, might have aversion to even listening to Gita, Bhagavad-Gita. The words are actually Bhagavan's words. Just because they chant in a different style, different intonation, different kind of a tune, that might be repulsive for some people, right? So we attach a lot to the material things, which are unnecessary, right? But the eka bhava is the same. The one who can see through the veil, beyond the messenger, the one who is emitting this message, one who can purely concentrate on the message, which is coming from the Paramatma Tattva, right? Which is that eka avyaya bhava, ikshati, one who can see that, which is basically then, and this is very important to develop that samya bhava, right? What's that? Vidya vinaya sampanne, brahmane gavihastini, shunichaiva swapakecha, panditaha samadarshina. If we have to develop that samabhava, we shouldn't have any prejudice that, this is what I expect from a brahmana, this is what I expect from a chandala, right? If that were to be the case, then Shankaracharya wouldn't be shouting at a brahmana, "Hey, Moodhamate, Bhaja Govinda," and would be bowing down to the feet of Chandala, looking at Rudra Tattva in that Chandala, right? I mean, that's a very contrasting thing. In our preconceived notion, we might blindly, reject everything that comes from a Chandala, right? And then blindly praise everything that comes from a Brahmana, right? Whereas Shankaracharya was not, he had such a samabhava that he knew how to treat the message for the benefit, for the merit it carries, right? If the Brahmana is doing, the so-called namesake Brahmana is doing some rubbish, hey, Moodhamate, Bhaja Govinda is what he says, right? That's the Samya Bhava. Sudhram Mitra Yudasina, Madhyastha Dvesha Bandhishu, Sadhushvapi Chapateshu, Samabuddhi Vishishyati, right? The Samabuddhi. You look at the Bhagavad Tattva, Nirdosham Samam Brahma, Tasmat Brahmani Kesita. If we have to launch ourselves to the Brahma Tattva, Brahmicity, we have to now start looking at the Brahma Tattva in everyone, right? Not discarding the fact that, this person might be telling a lie. Respect the lie for what it is, acknowledge the lie, but don't call anybody a liar. Right? There is no liar, there is no sinner. There is a sin happening. Papa is true, Papi is wrong. Right? There is nothing called Papi. That is basically putting people into brackets, unnecessary. Right? It's basically the ability to look for, as much as possible, look for that nirdosha sama brahma in everyone. That's not easy. That's a deliberate thing, right? Let's see what Aurobindo says. It's very beautiful. And again, most of these shlokas, will weigh much differently inside all of us when we seek the meaning of few more slokas. When we go to the 24th sloka, then we come back to the 20th. This will mean something different. So let's try to slowly soak up in these shlokas, right? So Aurobindo interpretation reads, that which is the knowledge, that by which one imperishable being is seen in all becomings. One indivisible whole in all these divisions. Know thou that knowledge as sattvic. Know that knowledge as sattvic, by which one imperishable being is seen in all beings, and one indivisible whole is seen in all those divisions. Right? So when we say that Dvasuparno, Sadrishau, Sakhayo, the Jivatma Parabrahma sometimes may be indifferentiable for some people. Some people might not even recognize the fact of it. They look very, very identical. But the Paramatma Tattva might look bespoke in all, but it's basically indivisible whole, the Paramatma. Right? Okay, let's go to the next shloka, shloka number 21. Harihi Om. Prithaktvena tu yajnanam nanabhavan prithagvidha vetti sarveshu bhuteshu tajnanam vidhi rajasam. Prithaktvena tu yajnanam nanabhavan prithagvidha vetti sarveshu bhuteshu tajnanam vidhi rajasam. Again, that's a rajasika jnana, right? Prithaktvena tu yat jnanam. That becomes yat jnanam, right? Yat jnanam. Nana bhavan prithak vidhan vetti sarveshu bhuteshu tat jnanam vidhi rajasam. Right? Let's see the anvaya. Yat jnanam tu sarveshu bhuteshu prithak vidhan nana bhavan prithaktvena vetti. Right? Tat jnanam rajasam iti vidhi. Yat jnanena, I think we can add it as yat jnanena tu sarveshu bhuteshu prithak vidha nana bhavan prithaktvena vetti. Tat jnanam rajasam iti vidhi. Right? I mean, there's a reason why I would prefer Tritiya Vibhakti, yat jnanena, because that's how it happens. Right? Yat jnanena, by which knowledge, tu, indeed, sarveshu bhuteshu, in all existences, pratak vidha nana bhavan prataktvena vetti. No, pratak vidha nana bhavan, the different behaviors, different manifestations, different bhavan, expression, prataktvena vetti. We'll identify them differently. Like if I say, Krishna is joking with Arjuna, there is some expression that comes, right? Some people will take it in a positive way. Some people will take it in an unharming way. Some people might take it in a very, very aversive way. Right? Oh, what kind of a nonsense is this guy uttering? Right? That too in a public forum, in clubhouse. Right? And if the same sentence comes from Shraddhaji, the same sentence, we will treat it differently. And if it comes from Sudhaji, it's treated differently. And among the mix of people who process my statement differently in the listener section, they will also have maybe different opinions when it comes from Shraddhaji or Sudhaji, right? So there are some cases where we tend to process the same information differently coming from different people at different point in time. Pritatvena pritakvidha nana bhavan vetti. Pritatvena vetti. Understands them in different way, right? Tajnanam rajasam iti vidhi. Know that knowledge to be rajasika in nature. Basically, rajasika behavior is where there is some attachment. There is maybe we are attached to something. So one day, Bharataji was sitting in a pub. Right? He was down some 3-4 beer. Right? And then he was mocking Krishna. This guy is a dharmic guy. Whatever now, tomorrow, even if I'm making a very light-hearted comment about Krishna, all guns are, pointing towards me. Right? So we have some attachment. Right? And then today, if I say something nicer, but in a slightly not so very affirmative tone, even then people might be looking at me with a lot of suspicion. Right? There is some attachment. We are all seeing some attachment. Right? But whereas today the same sentence what I am making comes from Shraddhaji. Oh, Shraddhaji, she is totally Shraddhaya Upeta. She is completely laden with Shraddha. Whatever she has, we have a different way of looking at things. Right? It's not ignorance, but there is attachment. Wherever we have attachment to something, that's where Rajasika comes. Rajasika is the core of samsara. The core of creation is Rajasika. Right? So, Pritatvena, No, yet bhavam, veti, tat jnanam rajasam iti vidhi. Like, know know that knowledge is very, very rajasika. Right? Again, jnana, uh, see, when we look at the previous shloka, right? This is the injunction, right? The Vedic injunction. The 15th chapter had clearly, categorically said, Vedesha sarvai rahameva vedya. And we have this habit, some of the Vaishnava Paddhati, we have a very strong, association with Vishnu Sahasranama. At the end of the Vishnu Sahasranama, when we look at the Falashruti, right, the Uttara Pitika, Yogo, Jnanam, Tatha, Samkhyam, Vidya, Shilpa, Adikarmacha, Vedaha, Shastrani, Vijnana, Etat, Sarvam, Janardana. We have this habit of telling that, in our belief, everything comes out from Yena Sarvam Idam Tatam. Everything comes out from Bhagavan, Janardana, Parabrahma, Shri Krishna, Narayana, Vishnu. We might call him from various thousand different names, but it's all the same. Everything comes from him, right? And that's the whole. If we have to stay sattvika, and that should be our alignment. I might be studying AI tomorrow, right? Tomorrow I might be learning some quantum computing, but I will understand the prakritika jnana behind that subject, but I will also try to seek the adhyatmika jnana behind the concept, that I will start linking everything to Bhagavan. Unless I do that, I will not be able to establish any use case of any knowledge which is sitting nicely in sync with that universal consciousness. So I have to look at that avibhakta avyaya ekabhava, right? So that's how we have to seek the knowledge. And that is not easy. We have to strive hard. We have to deliberate hard. We have to look for that one single avyaya bhava in everything, whatever jnana we see. And if we end up taking them as different ways, like if somebody speaks about some Stanford professor speaks about AI, there is a different way of taking it. If the same message comes from Narendra Modi, we have a different way of teaching. What does this chaiwala know about AI, right? So we have a way of you know condescendingly kind of canceling some people. We have some attachment. That's Rajasika. What primarily Krishna is telling is, don't look at the messenger. Look at the message and try to link that avyaya bhava behind everything. So link it back to the way the jnana can be processed differently by different people. And that division is primarily driven by the sattvika, the rajasika, the tamasika impulsions that we all possess. Right? So that's where we have to perhaps look at this thing. Right? But there is also tamasika. Right? There is also tamasika jnana. Let's go to the next shloka. Oh, did we see Aurobindo interpretation? Yeah. Let's look at the Aurobindo interpretation for the Rajasika, shloka number 21. But that knowledge by which one sees the multiplicity of things only in their separateness and variety of operations in all these existences, that knowledge know thou as Rajasik. Right? Again, it might sound slightly different to the way I explain. When some of these translations go for samabhava, they say absolute samabhava. Right? There is, like, for example, when I have ichha, dvesha, preeti, all of these, they say everything is the same. Right? That can't be that. And looking at them differently, that love and hate to be two different things, the sorrow and happiness are two different things. This is Rajasika, some people say. But behind sorrow and the happiness, it's only one thing. That's Satvika. Some people might argue that way. I wouldn't be able to comment on that, but such a thought process also exists in the society. So I will leave it there. Right? The way I see, the Rajasika primarily comes with attachment, and when I refer back to the Gita, Sama Bhava is not looking at everything the same way. No, having the same level of empathy to everything without any, and empathy can vary when we have the prejudice, right? So elimination of the prejudice and treating things at the face value, right? Give it, treat everything at the face value, and that's still samabhava. Samabhava is basically the Bhagavad Bhava, right? Which is basically Maitra, Karunya, Mudita, Upeksha, indifference. That's the key word. Upeksha, indifference. Right? You don't really attach anything to it. Right? So detached way of looking at things is Satvika. Attached way of looking at things is Rajasika. And confused way of looking at things is Tamasika. And that's what we come to, right? Shloka number 22 helps us with the tamasika. Let's see the sloka. Yattu kritsnavade kasmin karye saptamahetukam atatvarthavadalpancha tattamasamudahritam. Yattu kritsnavade kasmin karye saptamahetukam atatvarthavadalpancha tattamasamudahritam. The padacheda. Yet tu Krishnavat ekasmin karye saktam ahetukam atatvarthavat alpam cha tat tamasam udahritam. Very beautiful. Let's see what the Anvaya sounds like. Yet tu ekasmin karye saktam Krishnavat atatvarthavat cha ahetukam cha alpam tat tamasam udahritam. Right? What does that mean? Yet two, very beautiful. Two is a very, it's an operative word here. One who indeed. Yet two, we look at the dictionary, right? But one with which, ekasmin karye saktam is only lodged in one activity, in one action, one movement, or one routine, one karya, one karya, saktam, asaktam. Is completely interested in only one thing. Whether there is bombing happening in India, bombing happening in Himalaya, somebody has taken up sadhana. Right? I want to levitate sitting in the Himalayas. Right? He will only be doing that. Right? I mean, if bombing is happening, you got to be aware what's happening, right? You can't be completely immune to that. Ekasmin karye saktam, and Krishnavata in all possible ways, as if that's the whole thing. Right? You just say, like somebody has told you, count the notes. Right? You keep counting the notes, whether it's 500 rupee note or a 50 rupee note, you don't make any difference. Just keep counting. Krishnavata, as if it's the whole thing. Ekasmin karye saktam Krishnavata. And atatvartha, atatvarthat, atatvarthavat, sorry. Atattvarthavat, na tattvarthavat, tattva arthavat. Right? Tattvarthavat is basically one who is seeking the tattvartha, with a proper attachment or with a proper grasp of the tattvartha. This tattva, atita nagate kale, whatever time has elapsed, whatever time is currently being witnessed, or agate, whatever time is yet to come, that will remain the way. It will not change. That's tattva. No, tat tattam tatvatah vidu. Like, tattva is something that remains consistent. Right? Tattvartha. Tattvartha is the as is knowledge. The true knowledge of anything is tattvartha. And atattvartha is indifferent, being viruddha to it. The one without any essential truth of things. Without truly understanding what's happening behind the scene. Right? Atattvarthavat. Yahatu atattvarthavat kritsnavat. Like, in all different, as if that is the whole thing, without any idea of the truth behind it, the essential truth behind it, as though without any essential principle, understanding of any essential principle. And also, ahetukam, having no reference to cause. See, hetutva sangha is one, ahetukam is another thing. Hetutva sangha is I attach myself to an action because something happened, like Arjuna. For him, Mahabharata Yuddha, at least it appears, right? These people insulted Draupadi. These people, spoiled the modesty of Draupadi. And later, 2 days later, after this Upadesha, right? The 11th day, 12th day, we hear the Karna Parva, right? Abhimanyu Vada, or before the Drona Parva only, Abhimanyu Vada, right? In the Abhimanyu Vada, I'm going to kill him because he killed my son. That's Hetutva. That's the wrong thing. Hetutva is needed. We have to win the war. We have to establish the Dharma is needed. The larger Hetutva is there. I am just a Nimitta Karaka. But me doing it for the sake of that. So there is a thin line difference between, when he says, Karmanyeva adhikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana ma karma phala hetuhu bhu. When he says, Hetutva Sangha is basically karma phala hetu, that you are the cause of this karma phala, that you are doing it for this kind of a karma phala. And leave that association. The karma phala hetu is what? But it is not that we are doing anything randomly without any purpose. That is ahetukam. Right? So there is a thin line difference between hetutve asanga and ahetuka. Right? We have to weigh these two things with a little more nuance, right? But here he says ahaitukam, having no reference to the cause. Alpam tat, and also very, very narrow thinking. Tat tamasam jnanam iti udahritam. Udahritam, udaharana. Udaharana, we say example, right? Udaharam, declared. So that kind of a knowledge is declared to be tamasika in nature, right? Very nicely. Right? One where you like, for example, there are people who say that, right? Oh, Paramarthika, there is no dharma, there is no adharma, everything is the same. Like, it's atatvarthavat, right? They don't really necessarily see. If something need to be resisted, it need to be resisted. Like today, we see that in the woke society in the US, right? We saw one video very recently. The girlfriend and the boyfriend are going together, and one black guy is coming and killed, almost killed her boyfriend, and she is pleading for sorry to that guy. And both we later know in the news that the guy who got killed and the girl, his girlfriend, they both are BLM sympathizers. BLM is that Black Lives Matter, right? That kind of sympathizers. They became the victim of the agenda that they were furthering, right? That you need to. I mean, you need to look at the criminal for what a criminal is, rather than looking at it as a black criminal, white criminal. Criminal is criminal, right? You can't really, and that is what we've been seeing. You can't have an attachment because you can't be attached to some preconceived notions or prejudices, right? You have to treat things for what they are, right? You can't. And when we look at Bhagavad-Gita, we see how wrong the society is being treated, meted, with all these woke, activisms and things like that, right? And that's the Krishnavat atatvarthavat ekasmin karye, sthitham. Like, you just stay in one thing. Oh, I want to support the black. I want to support the black. I mean, support white, black, support everyone, blacks also, but don't support the criminal black. And similarly, don't support the white, criminals also. Don't support the Hispanic criminals also, the Asian criminals also. Like, criminals are criminals, irrespective whether they are Asians or the Hispanics or the Africans or Americans or the Caucasians. Anyone where they are criminals. And that's what, when we look at this, right, we clearly see where things are slipping out of the hand, like in the current society. But ekasmin karye, whether it's dharma, adharma, ahetukam, without any thought, which is basically pramada, alasya, nidra, right? You're basically sleeping through. When describing the nature of tamasika guna, pramada, alasya, nidra. These are the three. Total confusion, total lack of presence of mind, absence of mind, and alasya. You're completely slothful. Like, you're just too lazy to get up and even show any modicum of resistance or things like that. You're just too drifting, wherever, I ride the wave, where it takes me, and wherever the wave takes, I will go there. Something like that. You just lodge yourself into a raft and put yourself in the middle of the ocean without an oar. Even if there is an oar, you don't even touch it. No, I don't want to row. Let the wave take me wherever it has to take me. I mean, that's not right. Ahetukam, without any causal force behind you. No, and then saktam, completely clinging and attached to that. Tat jnanam tamasam. That's the tamasika, total ignorance, right? Let's see what Aurobindo says. Right? No, Aurobindo. The tamasic knowledge is a small and narrow way of looking at things, which has no eye for the real nature of the world. Atatvarthavati. It clings on to one moment or one routine as if it were to be the whole. Krishnavat ekasmin karya saktam. No, without foresight or comprehending the intelligence. Right? Very, very nice. Sorry. Let's look at the next shloka. Shloka number 23. Niyatam sangarahitam aragadveshatah kritam apalaprepsuna karma yattat sattvikam. So jnana, karma, karta. So this is the second section. Now he spoke about satvika, rajasika, tamasika, jnana. I think now we will hear about satvika, rajasika, tamasika, karma. These are the three things, right? Jnana, karma, karta. in the Guna Sankhyana, in the enumeration of the Guna by the Tattva, because this chapter is all about Tattva, right? Niyatam Sangarahitam Maragadveshatah Kritam Apalaprepsuna Karma Yattat Satvikam Uchyate. Right? The Padacheda, Niyatam Sangarahitam Aragadveshatah Kritam Apalaprepsuna Karma Yat Tat Satvikam Uchyate. Right? When we see the Anvaya, Yat Karma Niyatam Sangarahitam Apala Pretsuna Aragadveshatah Kritam Tat Satvikam Karma iti Uchyate. Satvika Karma. What is the characteristics, description of a Satvika Karma? Yat Karma. Right? That Karma which Niyatam Sangarahitam, always rightly regulated, Niyata, Niyama, rightly regulated, ordained way. The karma is always niyatam karma. Niyatam kuru karmatvam, right? It's always niyatam. Whatever has been ordained, and ordained is well regulated, right? Rightly regulated karma. And sangarahitam, without any sangha, right? Kartrutva sangha, hetutva sangha, karma phala apeksha sangha, akartrutva sangha. Like, all four sangha given us. Sangarahitam. Aphala prepsana, without any preeti, without any attachment, towards any phala. So aphala prepsana araga dveshataha, without any raga dvesha, without any attachment, without any aversion. Right? Araga dveshataha. Like I want to, like we all have this love and hate, right? We all have this attachment and aversion, right? At one point in time, Arjuna wanted to embrace Bhiksha because he didn't want to kill his near and dear one, and he hated the Yuddha. Right? There is Dvesha towards Yuddha and Raga towards Bhiksha. But the same person, when Uttara Kumara was under distress with the same opponent, he suddenly developed Raga towards the Yuddha and Dvesha towards the Ajñatavasa. Right? So basically, always lingering in Raga Dvesha. And that's what we are. I mean, if Arjuna can be that, and we are quoting a couple of examples of Arjuna, we are even more horrible, right? We are even more vulnerable to Raga Dvesha. No, yaha aphala prepsana araga dveshataha sangarahitam niyatam karma kritam. Whatever ordained work is done without any attachment and aversion, without any expectation of the fruits, without any association, that kartrutva, that doership, association of doership, association of the causal element in a personal level, association of the results of the fruits, that's sangarahitam. No, tat karma satvikam iti uchyate. That kind of an action is called satvika karma, right? Which is done, which is basically nishkama karma, karma yoga karma, buddhi yukta karma, right? That's basically satvika karma. That's why Krishna keeps telling, no, you have to become nistraygunya, obviously, but nitya sattvastha bhava. When we understand sattvika jnana, sattvika karma, and then later we will see sattvika karta, sattvika sukha, sattvika buddhi, sattvika dhriti. And the previous chapter we saw sattvika dana, sattvika tapas, sattvika yajna. We saw all of that, right? And in this chapter we also saw sattvika tyaga. When we understand how many? 10 different buckets, categories in which we have been shown what is sattvika for this, what is rajasika for this, what is tamasika for this. That's what is given in chapter 17 and 18. Very elaborate explanation, of the guna, the breakdown of the guna, right? When we understand that, he also mentions, right, in the second chapter, you have to become nistraygunya, but for that you have to become nitya sattvastha. Nitya sattvastha bhava and nistraygunyo bhava. At the face of it, it might appear like a contradiction because sattva guna is one of the three gunas, right? How can I become nistraygunya without giving up the sattva guna also? Because it's not easy. Sattvika jivana is very, very difficult. It requires a lot of determination, a lot of perseverance. You have to overcome a lot of distractions. Dukkha mityeva yat karma. There are a lot of dukkha in the body. Kaya klesha bhaya. And we give up a lot of action only because we feel it's too difficult. Right? We resign from a job because these guys are changing my shift like crazy. Like we give up wives because this woman, all she wants is money. Right? we have a breakup of the marriage is also happening, for all material reasons, all filthy, material reasons, because we feel bodily harm. But sattva jivana, while it is, sukhakara, which is atyanta, asprishta, kind of a sukha, like, which is beyond any touch, material touch, and everlasting kind of a sukha, and also jnanadayaka, prakashaka, like, prakashakam and amayan, right? That's the sattvika guna. It's not easy. That life is not easy, right? It comes with a lot of endurance. That's why we keep calling it as tapas, right? Let's see what Aurobindo says for this sattvika karma, an action which is rightly regulated. When we say rightly regulated, the niyata karma is basically vidhi karma. No, there is some, when we say dharmika, nitya naimittika, we say, the naimittika karma are part of the, when we see some of our sankirna granthas, things like that, sadachara smritis and things like that, they basically are the religious texts, dharma guide, what you need to do, what you need to stay away from, forbidden, vidhi nishedha, we say, that vidhi karma is the niyata karma. What are we supposed to do? That dharma. As a student, I have a niyata karma. As a father, I have a niyata karma. As an acharya, I have a niyata karma. Right? As a brahmana, I have a niyata karma. As a citizen, I have a niyata karma. So what are you supposed to do? As a citizen, there are few fundamental duties we call. No, as an Indian citizen, we have those 10 fundamental duties, right? So that's niyata karma. These are the things we can't give up at all, right? Rightly regulated, niyata karma. Perform without attachment, without liking or disliking, for its spur or its drag, right? Nadveshi sampravrittani, na nivrittani kamshati, right? And done by one undesirous of any fruit. That is called sattvic. We'll see the 24th shloka. यत्तु कामेषु न कर्म साहंकारेण वा पुनः क्रियते बहुलायासं तद्राजसमुदाहृतम्. यत्तु कामेषु न कर्म सा अहंकारेण वा पुनः क्रियते बहुलायासं क्रियते तद्राजसमिति उदाहृतम्. The padacheda, yattu kama ipsuna karma sahankarena, can be sahankarena or it's a samasa. Sahankarena va punah kriyate bahula ayasan tat rajasam udahritam. We can add iti, right? Rajasam iti udahritam. The anvaya, yat karma tu bahula ayasan punah kama ipsuna sa ahankarena va kriyate tat rajasam karma iti udahritam. Yat karma, whichever action, karma too, but indeed, bahulayasam, with lot of ayasa. Ayasa is basically getting tired, right? We feel tired only when we think we have put in a lot of effort, right? Which is done with great deal of effort. See, when we are in Sattvika city, there is nothing called effort, there is nothing called ayasa. We might have put, when we have to measure it in a scientific way, we might have burnt more joules, more calories, right, than the other person. But if we think we are doing a great work, then it will definitely lead to tiredness. Ayasa, right? Bahula ayasa. Ayasa in our colloquial way, as much as it is great effort is only in the mind. Right? When I count it like that, when I think it's great effort, we don't know what is great. Only when the mind thinks, oh, I'm getting tired, we get a feeling that, no, I have put in a lot of effort. Right? Bahula ayasa. I might get tired after speaking 90 minutes. I keep telling this, right? In Purushatma Yoga House, after 90 minutes, that's my limit. I don't want to. But there are people who can go on for the entire day, talk, 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 talk. When people like me have this mindset that, oh, this is too much, that will lead to difficulty, that will lead to tiredness. We get tired, ayasa. We get ayasa very easily. Bahulayasam kriyati. Punaha kama ipsana sahankarena. And, again, these are done by kama ipsuna, by people who ichchati, kama, like people who desire to get something out of it. There is a desirous element to it, no fixation to it. And sa ahankarena, that idam mama, like this entire jagat and the experiences are for me, the madarthi, and they're not for my experiences. I am the one who's doing it. This karma phala is mine. I'm like Ishvaroham aham bhogi, Siddhoham Balavan Sukhi, all that we heard in the 16th chapter. Sa ahankarena, with that ahankara, that I am the doer, I am the enjoyer, that kind of an ego. Va kriyate, either done for any of these reasons, either done for ahankara sthiti, was done for the sake of kama ipsa sthiti, done for done with great ayasa sthiti, whatever be the reason, tat rajasam iti udaharakam. These are declared to be rajasika karma, right? And it's all in the mind. No, we might be like we hear, right? When we hear the Ramayana, when normally we see, even when we see, and that's why we shouldn't watch movies before reading the book. When we see the movies that depict the Ramayana, especially that, for example, when Rama gets abandoned to the forest, right? It seems like some background music is like, so patho, patho music, kind of a music, right? It makes you cry. But when we read Ramayana, it's it's goosebumps moment. It's a romanchaka moment. That episode where Rama is getting abandoned, Rama is like scolding. I mean, he's feeling sad. Kaikeyi is not requesting him directly. Why are you, mother? Why are you taking the route of Dasharatha, my father, to tell me to go to the forest? You could have saved your boon for something else. No, why did you have to waste the boon? You should have told me directly. I would have gone. I mean, there is no dukkha, there is no ayasa, there is no effort at all for Rama. But we think, oh, Rama has been banished. No, that kind of a melodramatic thing will only happen in our eyes. No, when people in their sattva, he's not sattva, he's beyond sattva, right? But as an example, he was showing in Rama Avtara, he was showing us what we need to do. And there are people like in Kali Yuga, we have more people crying for Sita. Oh, poor girl, she had to go with her husband to the forest. No, she is the one. She was told very categorically by Rama, you stay back. And there is one chapter of Ramayana in the Ayodhya Kanda where Rama's advice to, it's only about Rama giving advice to Sita when he has gone to the forest, when she is back in Ayodhya, with Bharata as the king, how she should behave in front of Bharata. All of these things he's telling. But Sita has a different calculation. Oh, Rama, I want to come with you, so that, we both can swim in the lakes under the full moon, along with the swans, with nobody around. She is having a different thing altogether, right? For her, it's not at all effort. I mean, what is effort for Mahalakshmi? What is the effort for Prakriti that is holding all of this nonsense? I mean, we are all nonsense creators, right? And she has no effort at all. So, when we are in the Sattvika city, there is no effort, right? Only it's all in the mind. The minute I say I'm putting a lot of effort, then I'm not in the Sattva city, right? When the water, the drop in the river will not count whether I'm flowing in Mississippi or whether I'm flowing in, Gomati in the Dwarka. Gomati in Dwarka is hardly few meters, right? It will just evaporate within few meters. But Mississippi, God knows how many miles the water has to cover. Right? It takes several days for the drop to complete the journey, right? So the drop doesn't think, am I traveling this much distance before I hit the ocean, or am I traveling, few meters, before I hit the ocean? The water is just happily in the flow, right? That's a Satvika city. In the Rajasika, oh, I am doing so much, oh, I have talked for 10 hours. Oh, today I had to give 10 pravachana. All of that thing will come. Only it's all in the mind, right? It's all about the mind. Ah. So let's see what Aurobindo interpretation says for Rajasika action. Sloka number 24. But that action too is but, right? But that action which a man undertakes under the dominion of desire or with an egoistic sense of his own personality in the action, and by which and which is done with inordinate effort, with a great hearing and straining of the personal will to get that object of desire, that is declared to be Rajasic. Apologies. Okay, I think we can adjourn now. We should have ideally taken one more shloka to make it complete of Tamasika, but that's okay. We can keep it for revising. Right? So it's 9:34. We have breached 4 minutes into our regular calculation. Right? So we normally meet from 8 o'clock to 9:30, 90 minutes every Saturday. We'll try to cover as many shlokas as possible. And today we covered approximately uh, 10 shlokas. Beautiful, Sudhaji. Thank you for this. Atita nagate kale yattadrishamudiryate. Kutaschid anyatha neya. So kutaschid anyatha na neya. It doesn't deviate at all. Tat tattvam tattvato viduhu. Beautiful. Thank you very much for this. That's tattva. So this is the whole thing, right? The question from Arjuna is tattvam veditum ichchami. Right? Thank you very much for that shloka. Yeah. So we will conclude now. We will adjourn. There is no conclusion. We will only adjourn a momentary break. Before we can meet again next Saturday. I will take a break now. Thank you very much for being a good audience. This helped me great in terms of my Vak Shuddhi, my Atma Shuddhi. Before we conclude, a quick check. The stage is open. If anybody wants to come up and share something, has any question, if there is any explanation has been anywhere underwhelming, incompletely done or being glossed over upon, if there is any thoughts, please to come up on stage and share with us. The stage is open. We can have it for another half an hour if there are any thoughts. If not, we can wrap up. Shraddhaji, if anybody has any thoughts, Jai Shri Krishna. Okay. Usually it happens. We will not have questions now because some of the things from Bhagavad-Gita can be so heavy. It will take a while for the mind to completely process it. At least I can experience this. After 90 minutes, I am in a state of trance, right? Some of the things that Krishna's words, that has a lot of ringing effect. It contains Ghanta, Nathan, Visorana, a lot of constant gonging happening. It keeps resonating a lot of thoughts. So maybe we'll take some time before we can, have any thoughts around it. Club bio, the house bio, you will get more information. With that, we will conclude the room now on the reverse count of three. Those of you in good space can come up on stage and join us. Join us for a small Jaya Goshti, Jayakara in the name of our Gita Charya, right? Bhagavan Sri Krishna, Purushottama. Right? So let's conclude the room now. 3, 2, 1. Namaste Vasudevaya Preyasa Me Priyottama Samastaguna Sampurna Nirdosha Nandadayini Mokopi Yatra Sadena Mukunda Shayanayate Rajarajayate Ritu Raghavendram Tamashraye Bharati Ramana Mukhya Prana Sarata Shri Gopala Krishna Priyatam Shri Krishna Arpanamastu. Have a wonderful weekend, everyone. Jai Shri Krishna.
जय
जय
श्री
श्री
कृष्ण।
कृष्ण।
जय श्री कृष्ण।
जय
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 श्री
श्री
कृष्ण।
कृष्ण।
जय श्री कृष्ण।
जय जय श्री कृष्ण।